Can you tell us about A Taste of Love and your character in the film?
Yes, A Taste of Love is a great new heartwarming story in the midst of Dunedin, Florida, with the backdrop of cooking and family and old love from childhood. And it's a beautiful story. I played Jacob, who is Aaron Cahill's old boyfriend from when we were, younger. And then she comes back into a small town to see her parents to get a break from the city life. She's become a famous chef in Atlanta. And then seeing me again kind of, rekindles the flame that we once
Mhm.
had. And she has to make a big decision in the end, whether to stay in the small town, for love or to go back to the big city for money.
Mhm. That's a great synopsis. You've brought so many dynamic characters to life throughout your career. What was it about Jacob that resonated with you?
I felt Jacob was very close to who I am. He had
Mhm.
and I'm not trying to, self-proclaim myself in these ways at all, but he's a humble guy,
Yeah.
all about, he loves animals and nature and food. He helped run a farm in the movie and they just had these great qualities. And I loved his storyline of, what was happening with him. He was never pushing Aaron Cahill's character, to for love. He kind of wanted to see what she was going to do in the movie, like how she was going to change her actions to maybe suit her, that suit her better and their relationship. So it was really interesting to see how they wrote that, and I really enjoyed that aspect of it.
Yeah, like you were saying earlier, Taylor and Jacob have such a rich history together and quite the journey throughout the film, which you and Aaron brought so much nuance to. How were you able to build that bond necessary? And what was kind of that preparation to build that backstory that we see unfold throughout the film?
Well, Erin is one of the most amazing people I've ever met. She is just beautiful and heartwarming. I mean, as lovely as she is on screen, she's like that in real life. She's so giving and gracious. And as soon as we met each other, we just hit it off right away. We rehearsed and we hung out and we had dinner with the cast and everybody when I
Mhm.
first arrived to Florida where we shot it. And we just got along famously. She was so wonderful to work with, such a professional. She's so good at what she does. And, we had a great chemistry together. We both love, horses and nature. And it was a perfect match.
Shot this on location, and the setting itself feels like a character within the film. How helpful was that as you immersed yourself into this world?
It was amazing. I mean, like you said, it really was another character in the movie. Dunedin was so beautiful, and the people of Dunedin were wonderful. They loved that we were filming there. A lot of locals were in the movie as well. The restaurant we shot at, CC Riders, is actually there in Dunedin. So if you can actually go there and eat in the same restaurant where we shot, and a lot of the movie takes place, where we fall in love again. So it's kind of a fun little Easter egg for people. And it was just it definitely has its own dynamic, when you're watching
Mhm.
the movie, you're seeing all these big, ocean views and the palm trees and the beautiful water everywhere. I mean, the beaches alone had its own character, and that's part of the storyline is she lives in Atlanta and then she comes back to this beautiful beach town, and it kind of, reinstills all these old memories with her. And there's these
Yeah.
wonderful actors that play the young version of us in the movie, and that's all built into the story as well. So Dunedin definitely is its own character in the film, and it's beautiful to like sit in that environment.
And I think one of the interesting themes that this film explores is the idea of finding your passion in life and how the relationship with your craft can change over time when kind of outside forces are involved. For you as a storyteller, have you ever experienced something similar? If not, how have you been able to kind of avoid that?
There's a big message in the end that basically talks about, what really matters in life. Is it the
Yeah.
job with all the money, or is it the the romantic love that provides you happiness in your soul? And I think that's always a big um, battle that people deal with. And I think, in the movie they touch upon, a good balance of both. And I think it's important for people to see that. And and even playing the character Jacob, I definitely learned some things as well within the story of that.
Yeah. You've worked on projects of all sizes. What is it about independent filmmaking that excites you as a creative and storyteller?
Ooh, what excites me? I just love I love touching upon stories that help, move people. I really love being in a theater and watching people's reactions to things that we did and
Mhm.
make, instill a memory, or, whether it's they're tearing up for joy. Also just kind of like, the escapism of all of it. Like even in Dunedin, where we shot the movie, it's like people get totally lost in that environment, and we wanted that. And it's I think it's important for people to have that fantasy and that
Mhm.
love, storytelling, and being lost in those worlds. I mean, that's why I watch movies. That's why I think people go to the movies.
Yeah.
And I get moved by watching other artists and actors, and I love doing that for people. I try to challenge myself to do that. And I think it's important for people to be communicated, with.
Mhm. Yeah, especially now. And Michael and Conrad co-wrote and co-directed this project. Is the filming experience different when the people that have created this universe are also at the helm directing? What was that collaboration like?
They were great. It was really fun to work with them. And we also, we had one of our producers, Lincoln Logison, and one of the DPs, Michael May. All of us really worked hand in hand together to create this beautiful story. And Michael and Conrad were awesome. They had a specific vision of what they wanted, and they were, eager to work with us and our interpretations of certain scenes and what we wanted. And that's what it all is. It's a collaboration, and
Mhm.
we bring our own pieces to the scenes, and some of them we use, some of them we don't. And we had a blast. I just saw them recently for the premiere that we had, and
Yeah.
it was great to see them, and it was great to see how the movie turns out.
In addition to acting, you've also directed and produced in your own career. How have your experiences behind the camera impacted the way that you approach your work on screen now and vice versa?
I think it's important for all actors to get behind the camera, either whether
Yeah.
it's directing or producing. You really understand what it really takes to make a movie, and all the different hats that you wear, and the jobs and what you have to do. Producing is like literally, I mean, it's literally everything. It's the word produce means to like create something, right? And so as a producer, you're literally doing everything that it takes to get the movie moving, whether it's finding the money, making sure the actor's happy with the script, making sure the locations are good. And then when the movie's done, you're in the post-production aspect as well, making sure that the movie has everything that it needs to be done, and then that it needs to get distributed and put in a theater or streaming, whatever. So it's really important to learn that, and it makes you a better actor, understanding all those things and what
Mhm.
is needed between people. And it's a lot of fun, and it's definitely, as a learning experience. I think it's made me more competent in the real world, and it definitely helps with your drive and being able to
Mhm.
accomplish things, because making movies is not easy at all. And if
Yeah.
if you've done it, you can pretty much do anything, I think.
Yeah, and this film has been incredibly well received. What do you think is resonating most with audiences?
It's funny. I've had conversations with Aaron about this too. I think that it has such honesty in it and so much
Mhm.
heart in the
Yeah.
movie, that you really feel for all the characters, and you really fall in love with all the characters. Susan Gallagher, who's in it, who plays my real dad's wife in the movie, who plays Aaron Cahill's mom. She and I had this wonderful scene together where we talk about, she basically was kind of like a second mom to me. And
Yeah.
some of the stuff that we did in that on the day was a little bit improvised, and it worked
Mm.
so well. And it's those kind of moments that people watch them, they just see how real these characters are. They're just, real people in a real setting and dealing with real life problems. And, I think it's just great. It's if even thinking about it now makes me I this movie, funny enough, this movie I've talked about more than almost any of my other films, but because we had such as good a time as we had down there, it's like that's what you saw on screen, because we were
Yeah.
literally having a great time making this movie.
Yeah, it translates well on screen. And, speaking of that scene, when you're as an actor, how do you create the space for yourself to dive into kind of those more vulnerable moments when you have with your character, especially that where he kind of reveals the loss of his mom early on?
Um, it was a nice moment, and it was a great moment between Susan and I, and it was an important character
Yeah.
uh as an important piece for the character. You kind of understand his history of what was going on with him and why he's so involved with this family. And
Yeah.
again, it just brings people together, and you really understand why he loves them so much. And another thing is, you see how much heart everybody has in the movie
Mhm.
for each other and for others. And again, we talked about it earlier. I think it's important, even like today, to have, as big a heart as you can, especially now. And this movie, just has a lot of heart, and I think people, can feel that.
And like you were saying earlier on memories, it's such a focal point within this narrative. When you look back at this experience, what will you remember most? You have a favorite behind the scenes moment?
Uh, I Probably when we would every week when we were finished shooting, a small group of us would go out to dinner on Fridays because we had the weekends off, and we would literally discuss. It was a small group, and mostly made up of Aaron, my dad, a couple of the producers, Michael May, the cinematographer, and we would talk about the week. We would talk about our favorite
Mm,
scenes that we shot that week. We would talk about the work that we'd done the week before or whatever, and like going forward. And it was so nice to be able to like just to have those moments together because we all loved what we were making.
yeah.
And it reminded me of like when I did off Broadway after every show. My favorite moments wasn't doing the show. It was when we had finished the show that night and everybody was so excited that we had done um, another show. At the end of the day, we were all talking about, oh, you were so great that you did this tonight. It was amazing, and you had this moment tonight. It was incredible because it's always different. And so I
Yeah.
love that camaraderie that everybody had in this movie. It was a beautiful, like a love affair of friendship that was created between everybody.
Yeah, this cast and crew needs to come back for another film. I got one final question for you.
Yeah.
Outside of this project, what's next for you? And you've done so much already. What's left on your bucket list?
So I was trying to change this picture while I was talking to you. I was trying to put up a picture of A Taste of Love behind me, but this movie is actually a movie called Farhaven that I finished about 6 months ago. And this is Clay Cassidy. This is who he is. I have a lot longer hair in this movie. Kind of miss it now that I'm kind of right next to him. And this is a great film. Very excited about this. Directed by Gary Wheeler. He actually directed Aaron in another movie a couple years ago, and we shot this in Arizona. Really, really excited about this film. It's got also has a lot of heart. It's got action.
Mhm. Yeah.
Bailey Chase is the lead, and he's a fantastic actor. Love working with him, and great movie about family, redemption, revenge, and there's a lot of great action in this movie as well. A lot of horseback riding. We've got some shootouts, and it's got everything. Very excited about this film, Farhaven.